You know what I mean. Not this. He gestured around my modest apartment dismissively. I've worked too hard to let our past ruin my future. That's when I realized David had been ashamed of me for years, maybe his whole adult life. The phone calls that became less frequent, the holidays he suddenly had work obligations for, the way he never invited me to visit his apartment. When do I get to meet this Jessica? I asked quietly. Soon. And Mom? Please just try to blend in. After he left, I sat in my kitchen wondering when exactly I'd become something my own son needed to hide. The irony wasn't lost on me that David wanted to erase our past, especially considering how hard I'd fought to give him a decent childhood after his father decided we weren't worth sticking around for. Robert Sullivan was one of those charming men who promise you the world but can't even handle the responsibility of taking out the trash. We were 25 when David was born, living in a tiny apartment in Brooklyn, both of us working entry-level jobs and dreaming of something better. We're going to give this kid everything, Maggie, Robert used to say, holding baby David against his chest. Everything we never had. What David never had was consistency. Robert would get inspired by some get-rich-quick scheme, selling insurance, multi-level marketing, day trading with money we didn't have. Each failure left us deeper in debt, and Robert more bitter. The final straw came when David was 8. Robert had convinced me to let him use our rent money for a sure-thing stock tip. When that money evaporated overnight, leaving us facing eviction, he looked me straight in the eye and said, "I can't do this anymore, Maggie. This family is holding me back." He packed a single suitcase and left. No forwarding address, no child support, no explanation for David about why Daddy suddenly wasn't coming home. That first year alone was the hardest of my life. I waitressed at a diner from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., cleaned offices from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., and watched Mrs. Chen's twin boys in exchange for her watching David after school. I slept maybe 4 hours a night and lived on coffee and determination. But we made it work. David never missed a meal, never showed up to school in dirty clothes, never knew how many nights I lay awake calculating whether we had enough money for his school supplies or if I needed to pick up extra shifts. I thought I was raising him to be grateful for what we had, to understand the value of hard work. Instead, apparently, I was creating a man who'd spent his adult life trying to pretend none of it ever happened. The worst part? I'd been proud of him. When he graduated college, the first Sullivan to do so, I cried through the entire ceremony. When he got his first real job at a financial firm, I bragged to anyone who'd listen. "My son works on Wall Street," I'd tell the other waitresses at the diner where I was still working doubles to pay off the student loans I'd co-signed. I'd sacrificed everything